While America distances itself and withdraws, Europe is waking up and arming itself.
After Donald Trump's statements, it becomes clear that this administration does not care much about Europe's fate. My absolute priority will be to strengthen Europe, as soon as possible, step by step. We could truly achieve independence from the USA.
The world order that existed for decades is gradually and steadily being dismantled by the new White House administration. The US allies, who have placed the lion's share of their own security on Washington's shoulders, are in panic.
Washington has turned into Nero's court. The emperor arsonist, the obedient court jester, intoxicated by ketamine, responsible for purges in the state apparatus. We waged war against a dictator. Now we are fighting a dictator who is aided by a traitor.
In just a few weeks at the helm, Trump and his group of young professionals have certainly crashed the stocks of American military companies, undoubtedly boosted European ones, sparked discussions about the spread of French nuclear weapons across European continents, and alarmed the sluggish European bureaucracy, which urgently began searching for hundreds of billions of euros for its military-industrial complex. The future of Europe cannot be decided in Washington or Moscow. This was publicly stated by French President Emmanuel Macron in an address to the nation.
To remain a spectator in a world of extreme dangers would be madness. Decisions must be made immediately to support Ukraine for the safety of the French and all Europeans.
As of today, it is evident that both Trump and Putin view the world from approximately the same angle. In their understanding, a state's subjectivity is determined by power, particularly nuclear power.
Our nuclear deterrence protects us. At the request of Friedrich Merz, I have decided to initiate strategic discussions on the protection of our allies on the European continent with the help of our deterrent forces.
The statements of the French leader came against the backdrop of a sharp pivot by the main guarantor of Europe's security and democracy, the USA.
Macron, I think, based on his personal contacts with Trump and the development of the situation in relations between the USA and Ukraine, has already drawn his own conclusions. The USA will be withdrawing from Europe. The USA will at least be reducing its role within NATO in ensuring Europe's security, and therefore Europe must now clearly realize it will have to defend itself.
France is a member of the nuclear club, one of the 5 countries allowed under the terms of the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons. Is permitted to have its own red button. Unlike its neighbor, the United Kingdom, France's nuclear weapons are completely sovereign and independent from the USA. France has its own nuclear deterrence doctrine, which differs from NATO's. The essence of the document boils down to the simple concept of mutual assured destruction. In other words, peace is ensured by the inevitability of a retaliatory nuclear strike.
We cannot trust agreements with Russia. Peace will return to our continent only with a pacified Russia. I want to believe that the USA will remain on our side, but we must be prepared for the possibility that it might not happen.
As of today, Paris possesses the 3rd largest nuclear arsenal in the world, following the USA and Russia. The French nuclear arsenal consists of approximately 300 strategic warheads deployed on 4 nuclear submarines, as well as 60 tactical air-based warheads. It is precisely these air-based bombs that are being discussed in the context of deploying the French nuclear umbrella over the European Union countries.
Macron clearly emphasizes why France should undoubtedly take a leading role in Europe's security policy, because France has nuclear weapons, and if there is no American nuclear umbrella for Europe, then France is essentially ready to fulfill this role. Although, let's be frank, French capabilities here are limited, and it's important to have a joint nuclear shield from France and the United Kingdom.
Importantly, besides the French umbrella, some European countries are seriously considering creating their own nuclear capabilities.
We see what has happened with Ukraine now. It became a victim of aggression because it was deprived of its nuclear weapons. Today we would be safer if we had our own nuclear arsenal. There is no doubt about that.
But not only nuclear capabilities. The nuclear umbrella is just one of many aspects of Europe's defense. Amidst the cessation of military support and intelligence on which American weapons such as HIMARS and F-16 also depend, Europe has set a course for militarization.
Europe is gradually waking up from that liturgical sleep or half-sleep it was in, despite 3 years of full-scale war by Russia against Ukraine.
The reliability of American weapons, which Europe has been massively purchasing over the last 30 years, is being questioned.
More than just rumors, Germany fears that the US might remotely block its F-35 build.
In turn, European arms companies are expecting huge orders and billion-dollar investments such as these. Despite the prolonged downtime, Europe indeed potentially can produce any weapon.
When parents are having dinner, children have to sit at a different table. The US is negotiating with Russia, and not a single European is at the table. It has become absolutely clear that Europeans are the children. If you don't invest in defense, if you are not strong, they treat you like children.
In addition to the revival of the German, French, Scandinavian and other European military-industrial complexes, which will take quite some time, Europeans have realized that the concept of a small professional army is losing its viability in the current realities. Armies consisting of several tens of thousands of soldiers, without support. The US has no chance of standing against a million-strong army of Russian invaders.
Without Ukraine, it is impossible to build this system in Europe in a proper understanding. And this understanding, by the way, Europeans already have. That is, they indeed realize that Ukraine is not just valiantly resisting the aggression of the Russian Federation. Ukraine has undoubtedly the largest and probably the most capable army in principle on the European continent.
Amid rapidly developing events, the role of the armed forces of Ukraine in the new European security system was also highlighted by the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky.
I believe that Europe needs to look at Turkey, because there are two armies in Europe, the Ukrainian and the Turkish. These are the two largest armies. We must acknowledge who in Europe today can provide security guarantees specifically to contingents.
It is the Ukrainian army that is currently the guarantor of European security. A Western peacekeeping contingent of several tens of thousands of soldiers, as our partners claim, will not stop the Kremlin.
The length of the combat lines is approximately 1,200 kilometers. The proposals from our partners, specifically the presence of about 30-40,000 peacekeepers on Ukrainian territory, do not solve the issue of war. The President of Ukraine insists that the number of peacekeeping forces should be at least 100,000 at least.
Now, Europe needs to do everything possible and impossible to ensure that Ukraine, which is defending Europe, can defend itself. Expanding the nuclear umbrella, reviving the military-industrial complex, and increasing the size of armies. These are the right steps. After all, Europe will either change, arm itself, and help Ukraine stand firm, or it will disappear from the political map of the world. That's all for now. Don't forget to write in the comments about which types of weapons you would like to learn more about. Like this video and of course subscribe to our new Arsenal channel. The link is in the description below the video.